Hello, everybody. It is week 6 and 7 recap. We're going into week 8. Let's go. I was hoping I would be back on top. I didn't do a podcast last week because I lost. Although that didn't help the motivation. Got busy again. Just life. I got to do a back to back. I'm like consistently been doing the every other week. Trying to do it back to back. Adjusted my seat a little bit, camera, lighting, and okay. Every week I've been trying to work on how to kind of like subtly put the championship trophy in, and you can like barely see it. Like right there is you can see it through the reflection. So if you're wondering, I've been trying to do that every week. I'm trying to like add a like maybe have it peek out a little bit. But so this week it's you can see it nice in the reflection. Just shined it today. Ooh, a little speck of dust. There we go. Okay. All right. We're gonna go through week 6. Results. There was a few. I kind of talked a big talk on week 5, and I just blew. I feel like it blew up in my face. I was wrong on a lot of things. That's what's so fun about football. Unpredictable, love it. So gonna go over that a little bit, and then I'm gonna go over week 6. This last week, obviously, I feel like I talk about her team every week, but every year there seems to be some kind of theme, whether it's in the NFL. This year, I'm kind of hoping it's going to be emerging running backs. Last year, it was kind of I don't know. Every year seems to kind of have a theme. Like I know a couple years ago, it seemed like every quarterback got injured. Last year, it seemed like a lot of the running backs got injured. We'll see what this theme, but for our and then like there's also a theme inside of our league as well. And I think this year, obviously, it's tracking what I believe is the most interesting thing that's going on in our league, which is our highest scorer, the team that should be undefeated, is struggling, like barely hanging on to their playoff spot, and is in fact in jeopardy of losing that playoff spot after this week. So we'll go into that. I talked about how I'm going to highlight a team every week, and I was kind of thinking like clever way to come up with some kind of name, and I think I've got something. So this week I'm introducing my honest opinion, my hoe of the week, honest opinion of each of this team's, like the full team, like how they're going to do for the rest of the season, how their team looks now, how they could improve on their team. It's gonna be they're gonna be my hoe of the week, and I'm pretty excited about this one. I've thought about this a lot. We traveled over to Great Falls, small town, boring drive. Like you get over the mountains and it's just flat land. It's really boring country to drive through. So a lot of thinking happens, and with that, I was like, what am I gonna talk about this week? Who's going to be my hoe of the week? And I think I figured it out. We're also going to try to keep this within 30 minutes. I think 20 minutes maybe a little too much. I talk too much. So we're going to try to keep it under 30 minutes. With that being said, we're going to dive right in to week 6. All right. Week 6. First off, let's go over the miracle. Jason's miracle going on a winning streak against the number 1 ranked. I think I don't even think I have to. That's not even a bold take. Regardless of record, most points scored, number 1 team, Whitney's. Jason pulls off the upset. Beautifully done. Jason now right on a little bit of momentum. Now this before week 7, 2-4 after starting 0-4. That's not bad. That's not a bad. That's good as you can get after an 0-4 start after week 6. So, honestly, you're not out of it. You're not out of it. You got one of the best running backs on your team. Keep riding the high, Jason. Although you lost week 7, but it was a week 6 recap, so we haven't got there yet. Also, week 6, with correlating with that, I kind of jinxed us, Whitney. I'm sorry. I talked big game about your team, and I talked big game about my team, and we both lost. I lost to the Dre the bully, bullied me, smacked me around. We had El Cockroach with an amazing comeback. I think, who was it? Drake Main. Oh yeah, because Monday night in another league, I was up 30. I've got Roma Dunze, and then he's got Drake London and the guy I was going against, Drake London and DeAndre Swift, who had a huge game. So I'm going in 30-point lead, and then I still have Roma Dunze. So I'm like, okay, I just need his guy to not score. I just need Swift to score less than 30 and Rome to score the same amount as Drake London. Easy squeezy, right? Nope. I ended up losing that. That was tough. But that's not that league. We're in this league. We've got, honestly, I have not been paying too much. And this is why Austin is El Cockroach. The guy does not die. Like, just when you think his team is out, team's kind of coming around. Austin is not my hoe of the week, but maybe he's going to be my next. No, I have a feeling I know when I want Austin to be my hoe of the week. But it's a team to watch, team to keep an eye out. Squeeze one out. Tough loss for Nate. I'm pretty sure Nate was going in with a healthy lead. That was rough. Yeah, and then he had Kyle Pitts. I don't know what it was at the time, but I'm pretty sure Nate came in here with like a good percentage chance to win. I mean, before this, let's see here. Before this, I think he had, at least, so Kyle Pitts and Caleb Williams, it was against Chicago. So he had a 30-point, no, it was tied up. You got, now I'm speculating, but just trying to do some quick math in my head. You've got about the same score going into Monday night, and so I'm sure Nate's sitting here thinking, all I need to do is have Caleb Williams score the same amount as Drake London, and then Kyle Pitts to score a few, and then, I'm riding in the sunset pretty happy. And that's obviously not what happened. Drake London with a huge game helped Mr. El Cockroach stay in it. Austin's never count him out. Team that's I wouldn't say threatening, but like I said, never count him out. Let's see here. Paul's that was one person I was right about. Paul's team's starting to go off. Even going into jumping ahead a little bit into week 7. This is now, let's see here, 160, 103. I wouldn't say too crazy, but starting week 5, you got the 164, and then followed it up with an almost 130. So back-to-back weeks from week 6, where Paul is leading the group here. So definitely the hottest team right now. Would I put him at number 1? No, still gonna go with Whitney's team, but Paul right now has the hottest team, I would say. Now that's great, but Paul, just, I don't know. You got to reel your guys back in and be like, okay, we want to play this during championship weeks. We had playoffs and championship week. We don't let them spend all of their touchdowns now. So, and then Eric barely squeaking another one by. I was looking back. There's been, I think, one game where the difference on Eric's matchup has been more than 10. I think there's been 3 games decided by less than 3 points, which is crazy, or around 3 points, less than 4, we'll say, which is bizarre. But yeah, let's go into week 7. That was week 6, and then Whitney kind of falling apart here after I talked a big game. Oh yeah, we already talked about that. Jeez. Yeah, that's all the matchups. So moving on to week 7. Week 7, this last week, I got back on track. So happy about Judkins. Now I gotta find my number 2. I gotta find my running back number 2. In week 7. Oh no, I'm jumping. I'm thinking ahead. But yet another week where Paul was number 3. Okay, he's not number 1, but that's 3 weeks in a row now. Paul has been putting up 125 plus. So this team's definitely like 2's heating up, 3's on fire. Paul's team is officially on fire. So cockroaches can survive a nuclear blast. They can't survive a fire, I guess. So, sorry to whoever's playing Paul in week 8. Watch out, this guy's on fire. We've got Brian coming out of nowhere with the 137 leading the charge. I'll dive back into that because I'm gonna try to do a nice segue. Eddie getting some sneaky wins here. I think Eddie won this. Oh, no, sorry. Eddie could have easily been 4-3. But I feel like you could, I don't know. I feel like freaking Eric's been so close on a lot of his games. Besides this one, Eric's team crumbling under the pressure. Why would you start Justin Fields? He's got Garrett Wilson out. Who's your other? Oh, Lamar Jackson. Well, I guess I can't argue with that. Don't even get me started on Justin Fields. I'm not very happy about that guy. Yeah, we've got a lot of teams that are now 3-4. Now, if we anybody else, I ended up beating Whitney. Go me. El Cockroach can't survive a fire. The bully gets bullied by the tapeworm. Couldn't expect to win 4 in a row, Jason. Let's be honest. Yeah, your only hope was to have gone against Eric this week. Let's see. How did your team? Let's see what your team. Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins. Those are some good starts, but unfortunately, Darren Walt, they didn't do anything. Now, this is where you gotta start paying attention. We're getting into winter is coming. Winter is coming, and oh my God. Why would you? Okay. Colby Championship pro tip here. Don't start unless they are your key players, they're your alphas, your Saquon Barkley, maybe not this year, but let's say you've got your Bijans, you've got Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. Unless it's an alpha guy, if you have better options, don't pick the London game. You just don't know how people react or how these guys react when traveling overseas. If you think about it, it's an early morning. Like if these guys are used to playing at night, in the afternoon, this is a really early morning game. These guys are tired, jet lagged. You don't know how they're going to respond, and not only individuals but teams. So deep rookie move right there. All you needed was 2 points out of your defense, and you win the week. And you're 3 straight. You're on fire then. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Another thing to think about is we are getting into fall weather and winter weather. Now, Buffalo, for example. Now, Buffalo doesn't have any alpha wide receivers. The tight end Kincaid is a decent receiving option for tight end. But these guys, or these teams, don't always respond well to certain weather games. And I believe at Cleveland, it was a very windy game. So going in, you only wanted to start running backs, and only running backs. You don't want their kickers Maybe defenses because you can't kick, you can't throw far, and both teams know that. And so if it's a windy game, you got to be really careful. 2 rookie moves, you deserve to lose. Sorry, Jason, but that's the way it is. You could have been on fire. You could have been with Paul on fire. That's right. Okay, but that was last week. So after all the mess of last week, now we go into week 8. And honestly, if you look at this, there's not too much difference. Like, realistically, going into this next week's matchups, let's just say devil's advocate. We're not even looking at, like, we're going into bye weeks, first of all. So waiver wire is going to be kind of important. This is where you're going to see the depth of different teams. You've got let's say Eddie wins, El Cockroach wins, either one of those team wins, Nate wins, and then Mr. On Fire wins. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be 6 teams that are 4-4, which I think just kind of speaks to the volumes of how this team or this league kind of stays competitive, and how there's not. I think there are teams that are better than others, certainly, but oh wow, I was kind of low. Oh, okay. Anyway, there are teams that are certainly, in my opinion, better than others, but there's not. And we've seen in the last couple weeks, I think, there's not one team that's just like, oh my God, so much better than everybody else. Yes, Whitney's team looks really good, but she's lost 4 times. Like, obviously, there's an avenue where she loses. Yes, Paul's team has been on fire, but I don't think his team is unbeatable. Same with mine. I definitely think I have holes, but I just think that speaks volumes. Like, there's a chance that after this week, there are going to be 6 teams. There will be 6 teams that are fighting for a playoff spot, and any 6 of those teams could not make it. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Where are we looking at time? Cool. All right. So going back over, I was trying to find a smooth way to segue or to transition into what I wanted to talk about, but I don't have a smooth way. That's right. I was actually looking, and I haven't really looked at my points against. I've had the easiest schedule. Now, I also think, what am I? I'm 3rd in points. So, although I have had an easier schedule, I'm doing pretty good in points. So, now if you look at other teams, like poor Whitney's team, she's got the most points against, but also the most points for. And that's crazy to me, because she's now almost 200 points over 4th place. Someone that's ahead of her, she's almost 200 points. And, like, there's a very real possibility that she ends up, like, if she gets to, like, 200 points more than the bully, then there's a real possibility she could just sit her people, the whole team, on the bench for 2 weeks for the opportunity for Dre to catch up. And there's a possibility that after 2 weeks, he doesn't even catch up. So, I don't know. I just think that's interesting. Speaking of Whitney's team will just kind of be, as long as she keeps losing with the team that she has, I will keep highlighting her, because I think this is ridiculous. I think this is ridiculous that Whitney, after this week, let's say that you have Eddie wins. Austin wins. Brian wins. Nate wins, and then the bully wins. That will mean, okay, let's devil's advocate. After this week, and this is not, I don't think this is too far out there. Look at, you have Brian with 137 last week and 112 the week before. Let's say, split the difference. Let's say that Brian scores 120 and Whitney scores 115. Now, unless Paul scores at that point over 135, if he scores, she scores 115. Let's say Paul stays under 130, 129. Now, these are just numbers being thrown out there. Brian scores 120. Whitney scores 115. And Paul scores 129. Paul is second in points. We've got Whitney still the leader in points because I'm not catching her. I'd have to score like 200. I'm not catching her. Paul has less points. So that means our leader in points will be in 9th place if those people that I listed earlier win. I'll say that again. Whitney, our leader in points, will be in 9th place if, okay, she loses, so then that means Paul's behind her, Dre's behind her. If Nate wins, he's ahead of her. Brian wins, better record. Austin wins, better record. Eddie wins, better record. She would be in 9th place. Our leader in points would be in 9th place. And if playoffs ended, our score leader would be out of playoffs. Now, there's been people that have just win your matchups. Whitney has won 3 games, or 3 weeks. She's won 3 weeks. 2 of those 3 weeks, she has had to, she has had to score the most points. Week 4, she scored the most points. What was it? Week 2, she scored the most points. The only time that she has won without scoring the most points was when she was 4th in points and 4 points away from 2nd in points. Win your matchups. Whitney has to win, or she has to outscore everybody every week in order to win, it seems like. She's only had 1 week where she's not the score leader. I mean, look at, I'm not going to do Paul because Paul's scored a lot. Look at me. I'm 5-2. I am 5-2. Definitely was not the points leader there. Definitely wasn't the points leader there. I won. Definitely not the points leader there. 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 Definitely. Nope. I was not the points leader there. I have not been the points leader once. But that's ridiculous that you have to, like, for Whitney, it seems like she has to be the points leader in order to get a win out of the whole week. And that's what we've talked, like, that's where, and I will keep on preaching this until this happens. I will become Preacher Paul. And that's where I know Dre sent me a spreadsheet, and I need to look back into that and maybe like not fudge, but like put this year's numbers into it on your record versus all. I think he had a pretty detailed. I'd have to look back into that. I think he sent it to me while I was on vacation, so I like skimmed it really quick and then forgot about it. But sorry, Dre the bully. Don't beat me up. Don't take my lunch money. But I'd like to look back into that. But if I believe if you put Whitney against like a versus all, So like this last week, and I've gone over this in the past. Jason for maybe Brian too for if you don't pay attention or anybody that doesn't pay attention or I'm surprised if you guys are even still watching. If you don't pay attention or if you forgot, like so last week, I think doing a versus all kind of shows you like how have you done against the whole league. I'm in a league where it's there's divisions. There's 3 divisions. Top like the winners of each division are like automatically going to playoffs, and then I think there's 2 spots where it's remaining best record versus all. So like this last week, for example, Brian had the most points scored, so he would be for this week 9-0. You put his team up against any other team, he would beat their record, so he would be 9-0 for the week. And for me, Brian had the better record, so I would be 8-1. I would beat 8 other teams. Brian was the only team that I would not have beat if I went against him. Eric would be 0-9. And then this kind of makes it fair to where, like, if you lose, like, you can't have, like, I don't know, you can't go and score 40 points every other week and then win your matchups the other weeks and then make it fair. Like, I don't know. There's just, I believe it makes it more fair. And so I went in and I'm like, okay, well, let's see who's got a fairly easy record or who's been kind of bitching about some of the stuff where I don't want to do that. I'll leave the league if that happens. So we're going to transition to our hoe of the week, Mr. Eric Slappy Poppy. Now, I was kind of thinking, okay, who's my hoe? And I was like, okay, well, let's dive into Eric because there's some. I've got a few things. I've got a few things here, and I've always wondered. I sit here and I'm like, okay. Whenever I go against Eric, I want to kick his ass, and I'm like, okay, why do I have such a vendetta against Eric? Like, Eric's a very likable guy. Like, it's Eric. Like, the guy's just cool to hang out with. He's fun to be around. He's good vibes. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? This guy's kind of a crybaby. Slappy Poppy is kind of a crybaby. And I was like, okay, well, why do I feel like that? Now, for some of you that have not been here for a very long time, here's some history. We're gonna go down memory lane here. Eric, so once upon a time, Austin and I figured out a trade that we both agreed on. Obviously, no collusion. We're both gunning for the playoffs. Was it completely lopsided? Absolutely not. Was there an opinion on one person won the trade? There always is. So Eric got his little minions over in the tire shop to completely veto this trade offer that got accepted. And we were like, what the hell? Like, what's the reason why? Crickets. Absolutely nothing. No word from anybody. And so come to find out, it was Eric that was the one that vetoed it. And then I'm going through and I'm looking, and I noticed that a certain someone is not on Brian's roster anymore. And I'm like, oh, Harold Fannin, that's weird. I was like, oh, okay, Brock Bowers is injured. Well, what the hell? I don't see Brock Bowers. So I go through and I look up players. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, where the heck is it? Is this guy available? Like, no way. I was like, did this guy get traded? No. This guy is now on. Oh, where? Oh, it's back here. This guy is now on slot. And I'm like, what? Did I miss a trade? Like, usually this stuff would get talked about. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go through here. I'll go through recent transactions. And it'll tell you, like, anybody that was traded, dropped, added, off the waivers. And I notice Mr. Slappy Poppy got himself a first rounder off of waivers. Brock Bowers isn't dead. He isn't out for the year. He's just out. He's just out for, I think he's got like a knee injury. It's shady stuff like this. It is shady stuff like this where, all of this by itself would not be like, I don't know. Yes, Sloppy Poppy, Mr. Eric was just playing by the rules. He picked up someone that got dropped. But I find it kind of shady that the number one, someone's first round pick got dropped in the same tire shop that he works with the little snake that's sitting here picking up someone else's first rounder. Now, this is the same as if Paul had just quietly dropped CD and then CD Lamb gets picked up by let's say Whitney. That's not fair. It doesn't even matter who picked. Nate could have picked up CD. It's not fair. And you know who would have been the first one to bitch if this was anybody else? Sloppy Poppy. Now, all of this by itself would not be too much. Would not be terrible. But it's the fact that we have proof and we have history on Sloppy Poppy being a crybaby. Sloppy Poppy cried about it being us turning into a half-point PPR. Sloppy Poppy cried and threatened to drop out of the league if we went to this fair 6 seed seeding, where the 6th seed gets determined based off of most points or points against. If we change up if we change it in the format, and this is the stuff that grinds my gears about Sloppy Poppy and makes there be a vendetta. And when I go against him, I want to destroy him. That was shady. I honestly feel like that was kind of shady, where Eric just kind of quietly picks up someone else's first round pick. I don't think that should be allowed. But we're just going to play by the rules. The sad thing is, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters, and I think there's a possibility that Eric doesn't make playoffs, even with some of the shady stuff. And to be honest, like, I sit here and I vent about all this. We'll call it venting. But yet, honestly, like, it is what it is. Honestly, Brock Bowers hasn't done shit. And without Brock Bowers, Brian still put up almost 140. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Like I said, I don't think it matters. Honest opinion of this team, it's meh. It's meh. You've got Ashton Genty, who maybe they can figure it out after the bye, but I like Ashton Genty. I think he's a great talent. I think moving forward, they just need to clean up their offensive line, and he could be a really good player. But I think for this year, it's a year too early. I really think it's a year too early for him to be a real threat. And if anybody besides myself, like, I really like Trey McBride. I think he redraft. I don't care how anybody's doing. Like, I don't care how anybody else is doing. I think Trey McBride is going to be the most consistent tight end out there, and he's a true alpha. I think besides me grabbing Brock Bowers off of waivers, since I don't think it would change or give my team any more of an advantage at tight end than I feel like it already does. Besides me, I think this is the next best team that it goes to in terms of everybody else and competitiveness. Because I think if anything, it's not good for, like, Las Vegas is not a high volume. They got 3 first downs. 3 first downs. against Kansas City. They didn't score anything. They couldn't get anything going. That is not a good offense. That is not an offense that you want weapons on. And so I think, yeah, if Genty has a big day, then I think that means Brock Bowers didn't, and vice versa. I don't think you're going to have the Raiders are going to be a team where they're scoring 5+, and where Genty could get 2, Brock could get 1 in the same week. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. And I look at this team, like I said, there's no huge alpha. We'll see if Lamar can kind of turn his year around, but hamstrings usually linger. And with a running quarterback, we've seen it where this team doesn't always rely on their wide receivers. So Devontae Smith, he might have a big game. But Addison, from a guy that owns Justin Jefferson, I feel like Addison will only be relevant if their backup quarterback continues to play. Like, that's so bizarre. I don't like JJ. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good for fantasy. I think he could be a game manager, and they could win games with him, and it could be an ugly. So I think Addison will only be relevant until the starting quarterback somehow comes back, which is bizarre to say. Chase Brown, they went against bad defense. I think without Burrow, Chase Brown is meh. J.K. Dobbins, I think R.J. Harvey will eventually take over. Another meh. The only person I like is Jake Ferguson, who's been a volume monster. He's put up big points. I think if anybody threatening for the tight end 1, it would be Jake Ferguson. So I don't think it's a terrible place for Brock Bowers to go in terms of fantasy and to this team. Alvin Kamara, he's been meh. Like, he's old. Rashad White, even when he had the full chance to have the workload, meh. This team, meh. That's all I have to say about it. Meh. I think Eric's been kind of lucky with matchups. Now, this is coming from the guy that has the least amount of points against. We're almost at 40. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, last thing. So I got curious. I'm like, okay. Eric the Crybaby threatened to drop out if we decided to make 6th place or the last playoff spot be available based off of points or win record against everybody. I think it was points. Threaten to leave. And his argument, well, win your matchups. Okay, Eric. Now let's go in an alternative universe. Let's switch yours and Whitney's schedule. Let's start off with Whitney. If Whitney, we'll switch Whitney and Eric's opponent. So if Whitney, week 1, got Eric's opponent, she's 1-0. Week 2, she 2-0. She had the most points. Week 3, she has Eric's opponent, 3-0. Week 4 has Eric's opponent. Where is Eric? She beats the bully, 4-0. Week 5, she goes against... Eric. You guys would just go against each other. 5-0. Week 6, least amount of points, 6-1. Week 7, 110 would beat your opponent's score of 107. 6-1. Whitney, if she had Eric's schedule, would be 6-1. Now let's go back to week 1. Let's look at Eric. Let's say Eric and Whitney's team swapped, or their schedule swapped. Eric goes against Whitney's opponent, Paul. Eric is 0-1. Week 2, Eric would be 1-1. Week 3, Eric would be go against Nate. Yeah, that would be 1-2. Week 4, Eric would be 2-2. Okay, maybe Eric's got him. Let's see. Should go against each other. 2-3. Week 6, 113. Eric would not beat that. 2-4. Week 7. 129. Eric's opponent. Yeah. So Eric, it was me. So that would be 2-5. So going into week 8, Eric, if he had Whitney's schedule, would be 2-5. And vice versa, if Whitney had Eric's schedule, 6-1. This is what we're talking about. This is like, you shouldn't miss playoffs because you just were unlucky on your matchups. I will continue to preach this as long if Whitney keeps losing, but yet scoring ridiculous numbers. I will continue to preach this because I don't think it's fair that in a world where if you switch their matchups, Eric goes from 3 to 9. If you just simply change our matchups. Think about that, people. We need to make a change. We need to make it happen this next year. Eric, accept it. Quit being shady. Quit being a crybaby. Eric is my hoe of the week. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. This next week, like I said, it'll be really interesting how these teams fall. I think there's going to be a lot of close matchups because there's a lot of buys. So there's going to be a lot of plugins. There's not going to be like freaking Mr. On Fire over here. He's got a bunch of people that are on buy, but he also has a pretty deep bench from what I saw. So might not matter. Oh, there might be some decisions that need to be made. Interesting. Well, good luck to everybody. Remember, we are now going into bye weeks. So a lot of decisions that need to be made. There's going to be a lot of waiver wire pickups. See who gets dropped, obviously, because you never know who's going to drop their former first-round pick. That's crazy. Brian, what are you doing? Brock Bowers is he's out. So you could have put him in your IR. So you could have stowed him and put someone else on your bench. I'm over it. That's okay. All right. Well, this is me signing out. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. See you guys next week.